Hey everybody, thank you for checking out Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here. Just to give you the full context here, this podcast is just the audio from a Twitch stream that we do every Tuesday night at twitch.tv/goblinvoice. We go live at 9 p.m. ET, we have a chat, we have a call-in number, and it's a lot of fun. So if you enjoy this, you'll probably have a blast with what is more the full experience. And we'd love to say hello to you there. Once again, it's every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. ET at twitch.tv/goblinvoice. Okay, that's it. Enjoy the show. What's up, ghouls and gabagools? Welcome back once again to Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here. I'm Brian, here as always with my friend and my very handsome colleague who appears to be who has a situation happening with his face. Eric,
I can't control my jaw.
Is this a real concern?
I don't know anymore. I'm not sure.
All right, you let me know if you're having a medical emergency.
Funny you should mention that.
Real fast, Eric. We're joined by a guest this evening.
No, who?
It's a Brian and Eric Ray, the most frequent guest.
Don't you tell me who it is.
I won't. We'll just leave him. We'll leave him in the holding area the entire show.
I like that.
From cracked.com, previously from College Humor, UCB. It's Jesse Eisemann. Hi, Jesse.
Oh, wow. What's up, guys?
How's it going, bud?
I could hear everything you guys said about me.
No.
I heard it all, man.
No.
I meant the first part.
Can I curse here or no?
Absolutely not. This is a G-rated.
Okay, well, it was
yes.
fricked up what you guys said.
How did you escape the waiting room? Brian, I thought we had a plan.
Did we?
The guard.
Yeah. You floated it.
We're off to. This is gonna be a weird one. I think
yeah.
We're off to a weird fucking start, my dudes.
I don't know about that. Generally, when we make content together, things sort of just all tie up in a nice little bow.
That's it. And we all go on to viral fame together. And not just still here. Hi everyone. This is Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here. It's our show about ghosts, goblins, cryptids, aliens, and other things. Eric, what are we talking about this week?
So this is a topic that I'm even hesitant to get into.
Okay.
Because unlike every other thing we talk about, this is definitely real.
This gets into
Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
So I really know nothing about this. Jesse, you also don't know much about this, correct?
Absolutely not.
I posted about it in our Discord. You can find a link to that down below if you're watching live here on twitch.tv/goblinvoice here Tuesday nights at 9:00. But I posted about it in our Discord a couple of nights ago, and they all knew about it. Which scared me because I know nothing.
On the pod.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you actually can get on the pod. You can call us right now at 475-888-0516 and tell these three white boys the real things about a thing they don't know anything about. But that's it, Eric. What is it?
Okay, so it's called culture-bound syndrome. And it sounds fancy, but what it is a name for diseases that only exist within specific cultures and have no known medical explanation.
Crazy.
But produce real behavioral and physical symptoms, are treated incredibly seriously in the cultures that they exist in, but cannot be explained by modern medical science and tend to exist only within specific cultures and countries and times and stuff like that. And they're often, I want to preface this by saying, they're often thought of as like, or maybe looked down on or condescended on as perhaps like diseases of less developed peoples or indigenous peoples or like that. They're all over the place. They're in the West too. And even we can get into this, some common and prevalent things that happen in Western culture are actually considered potentially culture-bound syndromes.
This is going to be
Freaking
a weird one.
Capitalism, man. That's culture-bound syndrome.
Work, showing up on time. Come on.
That's
Not
it.
for me. Not for me.
Yeah,
No.
I don't like it. I also want to say one big culture-bound syndrome that I may be experiencing right now. Official stance of the show is that COVID is not a real disease. It's a fake thing. I'm going to keep saying that till the FCC just shuts me down. You can't contain me.
He waited till Brian had a mouthful of seltzer to.
No, but I might have COVID right at this very moment.
Really?
Do you?
Potentially. My girlfriend just tested positive. She's got symptoms galore. We were hanging out like crazy. So I don't know.
I had it. It sucked.
Yeah. I have a little headache. Feel a little tired.
You should kind of ruminate on it. You should like kind of let it occupy your whole brain. That way you get a clear sense of how you're really feeling.
That's what I do. Well, speaking of that sort of thing, that's one of the reasons why I was hesitant to do this episode, because I'm so worried that we are all going to inflict culture-bound syndromes upon ourselves just by talking about them.
Oh, I hope so. I hope they're transferable via podcast.
So that's the crazy thing, and we could get into this. Some of them, there is an element of social contagion.
It's like, it sounds a lot like mass hysteria, where from the outside, it's easy to write off. For one thing, it's just totally fake and made up, but it's also like it spreads socially. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Spooky.
Exactly.
Weird.
Now, is blue balls a culture-bound syndrome?
Obviously.
We've all got it. You can't get into this show unless you can't hop on this pot unless you confirm.
And that
blue, put back on the shoe and leave.
And that is why our viewer count will always be low. That's why our listener count will always be low, is because anyone who has ever had an orgasm is not welcome here.
Yeah, you get
no orgasm, gang.
It's actually kind of a tricky set of criteria. You need to really, really want to have an orgasm, but you can't have it.
Yeah, those are the rules. That is the contract you have signed by participating in Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here in any capacity.
Yeah, we didn't make those rules. I'm seeing this right now. I didn't even know this metric existed or how this works. It looks like we currently have negative viewers.
Wow. It is really crazy.
I mean, where do we want to start? I can dive right in. We could do the funniest one. I could do the
Let's do where all the best research on Brian and Eric happens is right on the show during it.
Oh, it's live.
I'm just Googling culture-bound syndrome.
Sure.
In medicine and medical anthropology, a culture-bound syndrome or culture-specific syndrome or folk illness is a combination of psychiatric and somatic symptoms that are considered to be a recognizable disease only within a specific society or culture. So basically what Eric said, just in case you were just making it up.
Folk illness is like when Florence and the Machine gets ill and pass it to each other. The Florence and the Machine variant of COVID is a folk illness.
Yeah, exactly. There's got to be a ukulele involved. You're playing a wooden spoon in some capacity.
Lightspeed Sloth in chat says, I didn't know edgy boys were powered by blue balls. Well, now you know.
Yeah, that's all. That's the only way I stay awake.
It literally is what wakes me up in the morning. I awake with a jolt and a yelp.
There actually is a culture bound syndrome related to blue balls. If we want to,
I think that's where we got
to
start.
Segue. Did we just segue into that?
Our first successful segue of the new run.
Okay, so I just want to preface this by saying this is completely all ripped directly from Wikipedia. We do a little speed research right before the show starts. We just copy and paste a lot of stuff. We do a quick review, but I'm not making this up. I am just plagiarizing it from Wikipedia, so I want to cite my sources here. This first one is called DOT syndrome, DHAT. This is a condition that's found in cultures of South Asia, specifically Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. And it's in this syndrome, male patients report that they suffer from premature ejaculation or impotence and believe that they are passing semen in their urine. So it's sort of like a pathological fear that your semen, it's just leaving you. It's sort of, I guess it's actually technically the opposite of blue balls. You can't hold on to this stuff.
So I have a question immediately out the gate. I have a question to our expert, Eric, who obviously knows everything about this that there is to know. So premature ejaculation is
they call me Dr. Loose Cum.
Oh, no.
Is there a way for me to change your display name to Dr. Loose Cum?
I mean, I immediately think of that to the tune of Mr. Sandman.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Loose Cum.
Oh no, you're coming. It's happening again.
So a serious point, I am confused about what makes that a culture bound syndrome, because that seems like a universal experience.
I was going to ask. It's so premature ejaculation is I don't know about common problem, but a common enough that like we all know what it is.
It's a little wider than premature ejaculation. It's premature ejaculation coupled with the fear of impotence and the belief that that whenever they're peeing, they're losing semen. And this occurs specifically in a cultural context. So in Hindu spirituality, and actually in a bunch of Asian cultures and elsewhere too, semen is like a vital fluid. So when you lose semen, that's bad. It's making you weak and more prone to disease, and all sorts of bad stuff can potentially happen to you. So this is kind of like tied into, it's almost like a loss of your vital essence in an uncontrolled way all the time.
So it's the belief that they are. That is the syndrome. That is the I'm coming while I pee. And like, no, you're not. No, I am.
I don't know if there's actual semen in the urine. I don't know if that's actually happening, but I think probably the premature ejaculation and the impotence part probably. I will say this: the wiener is, I feel like that's a finicky organ that is very much susceptible to psychology.
The state of Arizona says it's more so that they believe their symptoms are caused by that loss of semen. Got it. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, Eric, can you go back to explaining the wiener to us again, please?
Yeah. So, Dr. Loosecomb here. The wiener only responds to music and loud noises.
Really, the loud noises scare mine away.
Yeah, it's a really variable reaction. I need the cymbals clanging to get anywhere near a full erection. I don't know. It's been like that for years.
I need silence and absolutely no movement whatsoever.
We're all different. The body is beautiful. Celebrate yourself. That's what
it is amazing.
Say.
Yeah.
So it's pretty.
So I guess so. What did the commenter say? It's the belief that makes it the symptom. Is that what we're sort of landing on?
They believe that their symptoms are caused by the loss of semen.
Okay.
So I want to take some quick umbrage with the state Arizona's comment, who says, I mean, I will say they usually, I'm assuming you're referring to culture-bound syndromes, fall under other disorders, so they're not actually unexplained. I just want to push back on that a little bit and say, yes, these disorders get diagnosed within Western psychiatry in like the DSM-4 or 5 or whatever. They put a name on them, like they call it conversion disorder or something else, but they can't actually explain why it's happening. And there's some pretty wild stuff like paralysis or hysterical blindness that have no known physical mechanism behind them, and that do get cured by like cultural practices inside the culture and don't get cured by Western medical interventions.
Interesting. I will say, once I know nothing about any of this, the state of Arizona was like the most like, here's information that I have. I believe.
Yeah. I don't know anything either. I am literally Dr. Luscombe.
Are you allowed to call yourself doctor? Did you get a degree?
It's in the mail.
Okay, I believe it.
Yeah.
So is that all about Dr. Luscombe's blue ball? Is there any more about the blue balls?
There's always more about the blue balls. I do also want to say, I know we're going to be joking around about this a lot. I don't want to come off in the frame that we're like mocking these things, because one of the aspects of these is when people do experience them, it's like real. Like what is happening feels absolutely real, and it's not distinguishable in many cases from other illnesses, even though many of these do have kind of there are some comical elements here.
Sure, of course. And Jamie brings up some good points here. Like, okay, if we want to get granular, Western medical knowledge isn't the end all be all. So it's not entirely fair to be like, we can't explain this. Like, yeah, maybe Western medical doctors can't explain it, but maybe cultural healers or faith-based healers can, et cetera, et cetera. They're still not, in many cases, unexplained. All fair.
100%. Yeah. I agree with that. And that's one of the other interesting things about this. And this kind of opens up a whole fascinating can of worms where it's like Western medical doctors can't necessarily explain or cure it, but like a local shaman can be like, oh, that's just a spirit. You have to do this thing. I'm going to do this ritual and it's going to get better. And then it does. So there's interesting cases like that.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. So what's another one?
All right. Let me try to find a good one here. Why don't we stay in the Wiener region?
The state of Arizona says Jamie and I have both taken classes on this exact topic. I'll say so. We have.
Well, that's fine. I guess some people like to go to school. I've been to a school called the School of Hard Knocks on the Internet.
Yeah, he's a doctor. Should also point out, somebody said, Lightspeed Sloth said, Dr. Luscombe, drip me your seed. And I thought that was very good.
Dr. Luscombe.
I feel I've painted myself into a regrettable corner.
Why do you say that, Dr. Luscombe?
Do you guys have merch? That should be your first t-shirt.
Oh, God. Please let me out.
State of Arizona says, is that where you got your PhD, Dr. Luscombe?
God damn it. Guys, right. I'd like to talk about Koro.
Let's hear it.
This is otherwise known as, well, first of all, I'll tell you the etymology of this word. It's borrowed from a Malay dialect, and it means the head of a turtle or tortoise, referring to how it looks when they retract their heads into their shells.
Oh, no. We're still in the Wiener region? Okay, got it.
We're not going anywhere. No, so this is another culture-bound disorder in which individuals have an overpowering belief that their sex organs are retracting and will disappear, despite the lack of any true long-standing changes to the genitals. Koro is also known as shrinking penis. It is in the DSM-V whatever, and it actually occurs worldwide, but it's got a history in Africa, Asia, and Europe. This one sounds bad. I wouldn't want this.
It's it's the belief that your penis is shrinking.
Yeah, it doesn't. So this is one where there's actual no physical change. You're just constantly afraid that your wiener is going to disappear inside of your body.
Okay, like as a turtle might disappear into its shell.
Correct. Exact. Bingo.
Like a turtle's dick does.
Yeah, inside.
It
Where
does, actually.
is the turtle's penis? How
Where
does that
is
work?
a turtle's dick?
Hmm.
Oh god damn it! I have to Google.
Okay, if you Google, you have to make the first image result your background.
I think
That's a fun game.
I don't want to just unsolicited put a turtle's penis on stream, but I have now seen it appears to. I'm surprised. I'm surprised by the turtle's penis. I'll let you Google for yourselves if you want to see it, but like
I'll tell you this. I'm getting nothing but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle hentai.
Oh, see, now
There's
that's
not a
fun.
single real turtle in this image result.
Did they do? You think they did their research on turtle anatomy, or it's probably more fancy?
Oh wait, I got one. Wow, that's crazy.
it appears to it's a long purple thing that appears to come out of the tail. That's what I thought. The tail?
Yeah, it looks like the tail like comes around.
And it is a penis. I didn't see that in Ninja Turtles.
Pretty handy.
Yeah, not gonna put that on stream, but you are welcome, please, on your own times, to Google turtle penises and learn something. Learn something from.
I'm not going to. You're also welcome to not. I don't.
Well, I didn't say
necessarily
that.
need that. I have enough weird stuff that's gonna scar my brain when I try and go to sleep tonight. I don't need a real live turtle dick. So, all right. So yeah, that's a scary
If it's
one.
purple, it's Donatello, right?
Yeah. So already I see the issue with these syndromes because I hadn't thought of that until you said it. Not the turtle dick, the whole thing where I'm afraid it's retracting into my body. Had not even entered my brain till
that's
now.
That's what I'm saying. And some of these can last for years for the afflicted terrible. I wonder, do you gentlemen think there's a connection between that and the nullo phenomenon?
I was about to go nullos. One day, Brian and Eric will go deep dive into the nullo thing.
It's on our document. I feel like there should be a Brian and Eric nullo drinking game. Whenever nullos get referenced.
That's a great game to play if you want to die of alcohol poisoning.
Oh man, should we explain what nullos are? Or do we just leave that?
All you, Dr. Loosecomb.
I'm actually gonna defer to Jesse on this because I think Jesse introduced us to the concept via one.
Absolutely not. You
Slack
introduced
guy.
me to the concept.
No.
Yeah. Or like I think what it was is you two were talking about it, and I came over and needed to know what the ruckus was about. And then, but definitely one of you guys explained it to me.
Wasn't me. I definitely learned that.
Wow, this is a real nullo Ouija board situation. Nobody's moving the piece.
Okay. A nullo or a smoothie, according to Google or / Wikipedia, is a member of an extreme body modification subculture made up of mostly men who have had their genitals and sometimes also their nipples surgically removed. Nullos, most nullos identify as eunuchs. The term nullo is short for genital nullification. Honestly, do whatever you want with your dick. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, leave it on, take it off, whatever.
Do whatever you want.
Let it retract, let it just hang out there.
I think that's a good stance to take, is do whatever you want with your dick.
Well, technically not whatever you want.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay, yeah. Within the confines of your own personal space.
You guys want to hear something that I found on the very, very brief Nullo wiki?
Yeah.
I mean, this is two paragraphs.
Celebrity Nullos?
This is 2 paragraphs. One of the most famous Nellos is Mao Sugiyama, a Japanese artist and asexual activist who in 2012 had his genitals surgically removed, cooked, and served to paying guests at a public banquet. Cannibalism... Yes?
Allowed. Is that allowed? Is that legal?
Cannibalism is not a crime under Japanese law.
Well, good for them.
That reminds me of there was some famous case, I think, in Germany where some guy who, I don't know if he was a serial killer, but definitely had tendencies, signed like a legal contract with a dude who wanted to be eaten alive, I think. And they
that contract will not get you through court.
They like did it. And I don't remember what happened to him, but I don't know that he went to jail.
If you say, no takesies, backsies.
Yeah, exactly. If you take your hand off the piece.
Guys, I have the article from The Guardian. Are we getting? We have to find out about this, right?
Yeah, we do. We super do.
Should I just read the article straight out from The Guardian? Welcome to what has now become a cannibalism stream.
Cannibal stream.
To the family next door, Armin Muse seemed like the perfect neighbor. He mowed their lawn, repaired their car, and even invited them around for dinner. Other residents of the small German town of Rothenburg also believed there was nothing odd about the 42-year-old computer expert whose light burned late into the night inside his creaking mansion. Yesterday, however, Muse appeared in court charged with killing and then frying and eating another man. In one of the most extraordinary trials in German criminal history, the self-confessed cannibal admitted that he had met 43-year-old Berlin engineer Bernd Brands after advertising on the internet and had chopped him up and eaten him. It was, he said, something he'd wanted to do for a long time. I always had the fantasy, and in the end, I fulfilled it, Muse told the court on the first day of his trial for the murder in the nearby city of Kassel. Man, I'm just looking for, like, is this the same thing? Do we have on the evening of March?
It happened twice.
On the evening of March 9th, the two men went up into the bedroom of Muse's rambling timbered farmhouse. Mr. Brands swallowed 20.
Wait a minute, I thought it was a creaky mansion. These guys love describing homes.
Mr. Brands swallowed 20 sleeping tablets and half a bottle of schnapps before Muse cut off Brands' penis with his agreement and fried it for both of them to eat.
Yeah.
Brands, by this stage, was bleeding heavily, then took a bath while Muse read a Star Trek novel.
Which one?
Yeah, that's where I draw the line.
In the early hours of the morning, he finished off his victim by stabbing him in the neck with a large kitchen knife, kissing him first. The cannibal then chopped Mr. Brands into pieces and put several bits of him into the freezer next to a takeaway pizza. Buried his skull in the garden. Man,
I hate this.
I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't think this was a good idea. I don't have if he was convicted. The cannibal defense team, however, say that Muse is guilty at worst of killing on demand, which is punishable by 5 years in jail.
Weird. Is that a lot or a little for like the German legal system?
I'm going to say a little.
I'm in Armin Muse's
Discord channel.
I'm on his specific Wikipedia. He did receive life imprisonment.
Oh, that's good.
I think, good news. It's like, here's the thing. I don't know if you want someone who's acquired the taste for it, just roaming the German streets,
running around.
Even if it was intended to be a one-time thing, now he's got it.
I gotta say, we're a very troublesome people, huh?
Humans, huh?
Yeah, not a great species, not one of the all-time best, for sure. So that's more malicious, whereas what are the three words out of the topic? It's culture
bound syndrome, which
culture
is very
bound
confusing.
syndrome.
Yeah.
So but none of those are just sort of more tragic than they are malicious. Like even hand shook cannibalism.
Yeah,
it's still a little bit harmful.
Yeah, they're not like this. I mean, there is something called. So, have you guys heard the term "running amok"?
Yeah, sure have.
That actually that's a culture bound syndrome.
That's very interesting.
That refers to, and it happens in a couple of different societies. Yeah, so it's the act of behaving disruptively or uncontrollably. The word derives from Southeast Asian, Austronesian languages, traditionally meaning an episode of sudden mass assault against people or objects, usually by a single individual, following a period of brooding, which has traditionally been regarded as occurring, especially in Malaysian culture, but is now increasingly viewed as psychopathological behavior. And yeah, so I'll read this a little further. So this guy, Lawrence Vanderpost, experienced the phenomenon in the East Indies and wrote in 1955, Gelap mata, the dark eye, is an expression used in Sumatra and Java to describe a curious and disturbing social phenomenon. Socially speaking, the Malays, Sumatrans, and Javanese are the best behaved people I've ever encountered. On the surface, they are extremely gentle, refined people. In fact, the word Malay comes from Malu, gentle, and gentleness is a quality prized above all others among the Malays and their neighbors. It goes on to just describe how gentle and sweet they are. But every now and then, something very disturbing happens. A man who has behaved in this obliging manner all his life and who has always done his duty by the outside world to perfection suddenly finds it impossible to keep doing so. Overnight, he revolts against goodness and dutifulness, basically go on like a violent rampage and just start like fucking people up. And then you recover from it. You kind of go into this fugue state, start fucking fighting everybody and like breaking shit. And they're like, whoa, what happened? Oh, I'm so sorry. And like everything is like cool again.
Huh.
Wow.
Huh. Interesting.
Which I would love to do. I feel like we all have the urge to
just pop off. So what makes that different from like, say like the culture of like school shootings that America has? Like we have a large portion of that description.
That's a great
point.
There are things inside of our culture and society so a really crazy one that shocked me, and I'm probably going to get in a lot of trouble for even saying this, but some medical anthropologists have proposed even the phenomenon of PMS, premenstrual syndrome, and the discomfort surrounding that is a cultural bound syndrome, because there are cultures apparently where it's not a thing. Where it's just
it's not in their heads.
What I've been saying for years. No, I have no idea if that's true. I don't know if there's cultures where PMS is not a thing. I was just reading some of the literature that categorize even stuff like that we think of like, oh, of course that's a thing that just people get. Is like, actually there's places where that's not a thing.
That's really interesting. But even to your point earlier, if that were the case, which we are not necessarily saying it is, that doesn't make it not real.
Right.
Yeah, which is,
I'm even thinking it's probably more along the lines of like, okay, periods are real. Official stance of the pod, I guess.
Hey, don't speak for the pod.
Yeah.
Right, true. Question mark at the end. And then PMS is real as far as I've ever known. But I wonder, there are like, we suppress very real things all the time. Like people like ignore pain, even like chronic pain and that sort of thing. So maybe in some cultures, it's just so expected of you to suppress these very real physical ailments that it just then like culture wide, it's like, yeah, no, that doesn't exist. We're fine. We don't have that here.
Totally.
I do love that it took exactly, what is this, Eric? Our fourth show being back for three white men to sit here and go, maybe PMS isn't real.
You heard it here first. That's my stance. This is the hill I'm going to die on.
Boo.
Boo us. Boo school. But I guess my thought is
wild one.
My thought is that it sounds like some of these sort of are sort of born only in the brain, but then maybe some of them are the brain choosing to ignore very real sensations or phenomena, that sort of thing. Maybe, potentially. I've only heard 3 of them so far.
I think it's also important to at least so like one of the there's sort of 3 angles on this. One is that these are psychological or psychosomatic in nature. The second is that there's just like an undiscovered medical or biological mechanism. And the third one, which is just completely dismissed often by people, even cultural anthropologists, is that like the local cultural explanation for the phenomenon is true and real.
Yeah.
That like you are sick because someone put the evil eye on you, not like, oh, I feel bad because like I'm worried about stuff. Like it's like, oh no, someone like put the evil eye on you. That happened. I don't know.
So what's another one?
All right. Do you guys want to talk about the jumping Frenchman of Maine?
I think I've heard
more
of this.
than anything else.
So this is I wanted to do this one because this is a good example of like a lot of these are coming from say Southeast Asia and places like that. So this has a correlate called LATAH, LATAH, from Southeast Asia. It's a condition in which abnormal behaviors result from a person experiencing a sudden shock. When surprised, the affected person typically engages in such behaviors as screaming, cursing, dance movements, and uncontrollable laughter, or sort of jumping around. So this exact phenomena emerged in the jumping Frenchmen of Maine, who were a group of 19th century lumberjacks who exhibited a rare disorder of unknown origin. The syndrome entails an exaggerated startle reflex, which may be described as an uncontrollable jump. Individuals with this condition can exhibit sudden movements in all parts of the body. Jumping Frenchman syndrome shares some symptoms with other startle disorders. So basically, like this group of lumberjacks just couldn't stop jumping around. They're constantly surprised. Like a door closes and they're hitting the roof. Huh. And the other thing that's interesting about all of these is because they tend to happen in group settings and have some element of like social contagion, social transmission, it's very difficult to rule out something like a toxin or a virus or something that may be causing a behavioral change.
Right. I mean, that's my first, it's, man, crazy. If it's like, it's so specific, it's like there was just it sounds like maybe there was just some freak thing that you got into the system, got between them that we just haven't seen much of before or since.
Totally.
Or that's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Let me see. A lot of these have to do with like sort of like there's something that's prevalent in a lot of Latin American countries and cultures, and even comes into like Latin American communities within North America and other places. It goes by different names. It's called like it basically translates to like attack of the nerves or like nervous attack, which is something that used to be a more prevalent diagnosis actually in Western medicine too, like a nervous breakdown, quote unquote, which you don't hear that much about. You don't really hear about people just like fucking losing it, and like maybe people have panic attacks or they get depressed or there's some other thing. But that specific thing of like cracking up, quote unquote, from as a stress reaction or whatever, you don't hear that much about. Still a prevalent thing and phenomenon within a lot of Latin American communities. They call it like an attack of nerves, and it involves just like suddenly breaking down and crying or screaming and yelling or shouting or just like collapsing to the floor for not necessarily either as a reaction to a stressful event or just for kind of no reason at all. And it usually passes with some sort of like care and whatever. Yeah, interesting. What was I gonna...
Hey, guess who has to take a little pee break?
Is it Eric?
It's Eric. Eric, go pee. No,
I do it right here.
You got a bottle under the desk. I'll be back.
Jugs up, boys.
So now that Brian's gone.
Hi, I'm Jesse.
Hello. Jesse, you've been to Norway a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You missed our episode on Viking magic, by the way.
I know. I didn't get up.
That's the one you should have been the guest expert on.
Yeah, I did. I saw a lot of magic shows when I've been in Norway. Okay, you got to be last.
All about Viking magic, pulling rabbits out of hats, turning cards. Let me ask you this question. Have you seen any strange or interesting or unique like cultural practices or anything resembling like a culture-bound syndrome in Norway?
So that was one of the first things that came to mind. So my uncle that grew up in Norway, he's got some sort of chronic pain issue. I think it stems from like a back or a neck injury. And the only way he's been able to find relief is he's got I think they refer to him as his healer in Norway.
Yep.
Who does a sort of like physical therapy where he doesn't actually touch you. He just transfers energy from his fingertips to different parts of your body.
Is this like
and
Reiki, or this is like a different Norwegian thing?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
My aunt and uncle have never told me exactly what it's called, so I'm not sure if
Okay.
it's got roots in Norwegian or some other culture. But
Yeah.
when his healer died a few years ago, it got really bad. He couldn't find another healer that did it just the right way, and
that sucks.
he ultimately was able to. So he taught his healer had sort of an apprentice who, as I understand it, the apprentice eventually got there and is able to give him some relief. They live in the United States for about half the year. So she was also able to teach my aunt very basic like techniques to like get him through if he's got like an especially acute episode or something. So Brian, we're talking about this is the closest I can think of to a Scandinavian sort of culture bound syndrome is my Norwegian uncle's treatment for his chronic pain.
Sure.
It's the thing where they don't touch you.
Is that a Reiki?
That's what I said.
Right. It might be. I'm not sure. It sounds a lot like it.
My wife can do that or does that.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know a lot about it. But took a class in that. Has a certificate somewhere in that.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah. Eric's got a certificate in the mail, supposedly. I'm starting not to trust certificates.
I don't know how I feel about any certificate made out to Dr. Lusco.
That's true. It's more the person than the certification.
Any other examples of culture bound syndromes, Eric?
Dude, there's a million of these things. We can go down the rabbit hole all night. So there's a bunch of them. That an interesting example potentially of culture bound syndrome is just like possession, the belief in spirit possession. That manifests all over the planet in a bunch of different ways within like, Catholic countries to sub-Saharan Africa. That's all over the place. Let me see. You guys may have heard of this one. Tarantism is an expression of mass psychogenic illness documented in southern Italy since the 11th century. And Tarantism is a form of hysteric behavior originating in southern Italy, popularly believed to result from the bite of the wolf spider. I think so. And basically what happens in this disease. Yeah, here we go. Here's a quotation describing it. And we found the poor peasant oppressed with difficult breathing, and we observed also that the face and hands had started to become black. And because his illness was known to all, a guitar was brought, whose harmony immediately that he was understood began first moving the feet, legs shortly afterwards. He stood on his knees. Soon after an interval, he arose swaying. Finally, in the space of a quarter of an hour, he was leaping, nearly 3 palms from the ground, sighed, but with such great impetus that it terrorized bystanders. And before an hour, the black was gone from his hands and face, and he regained his native color. So basically, in this region of southern Italy, you get bit by the wolf spider, and baby, you just gotta dance. You're dancing.
Yeah, you get Weekend at Bernie's back to life.
That's right. Yeah, they just pick you up around. You're going. It's My Big Fat Greek Wedding all over again. You're having a ball. I would just get bit by wolf spiders just for the attention, I think.
I'm truly terrified of Eric just throwing himself into like a wolf spider nest.
Dance me, papa.
Yeah, some people go like get a coffee before they stream, or drink a beer.
Jab a wolf spider into my jugular and just
come on, buddy, I need this.
Yeah.
I'm
tired and out of venom,
right?
I think so.
What?
I said wolf spiders. Oh yeah, these fuckers suck. Just not even like, oh, they suck. They are a terrible spider. I wish they didn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I've seen these.
Oh,
guys,
it's awful.
I was under the impression that they're basically harmless. Like they're like not even venomous.
Yeah.
Like
so here's
them a lot.
Wolf spiders inject venom if continually provoked. Symptoms of their bites include swelling, mild pain, and itching, but they're not really poisonous.
I have a picture here of a wolf spider with a bunch of its babies on its back, and I want it dead with fire, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty bad. It's not
They
great.
shouldn't be allowed to procreate.
No, for
Whatever
sure.
ones we
I
have
got
on
that
Earth right
one.
now are fine. Get them away from the babies.
No more. No more.
Yeah, don't need any more.
No more. wolf
I
spiders.
especially like this syndrome because it's got like physical like symptoms that you can actually see and could diagnose in any direction.
Yeah.
And they decided they got the jumping spider guitar disease.
Yeah, there's a dance I think called the tarantula or something. That's an Italian for spider. You dance away the spider bite. I got one for you. This is called Morgellons. I'd never heard of this guy. Stop me if you guys have heard of this. It's a rare self-diagnosed skin condition reported primarily in white populations in the United States. It has been described by journalists as a socially transmitted disease over the internet. Morgellons is the informal name.
That's where we are.
Yeah, exactly. We are in the internet. So individuals have sores that they believe contain fibrous material.
Huh.
So the sores are typically the result of compulsive scratching, and the fibers, when analyzed, are consistently found to have originated from cotton and other textiles.
Huh.
So there's actual sores, I guess, and actual fibers inside of them. But it's like this compulsive belief that you've got these fibers growing inside your skin, and you're trying to like constantly pick them out and shit. Yeah, this is terrible.
And then they're actually there. It sounds like.
But
it's not a hallucination.
It seems like it's from T-shirts and clothes and things.
Huh.
When they're analyzed.
Internet people wear the same clothes for a long time. I imagine that could,
I haven't changed this in weeks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you're like a nervous recluse, I can see just like constantly irritating your body and the.
Right. Doubling back a little bit, I have a video of this tarantella dance. Should we watch it?
Oh, baby. Yeah, I would love to.
Is it somebody afflicted with the syndrome?
This is being performed on a stage, so I believe it is just simply a performance of the dance.
Got it.
One moment. So we have a stage here. And here they come. It's a delightful little jaunt.
It is delightful.
Yeah, this is lovely.
Just a bunch of excited Italian folk doing a spider dance.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. I'm not sure if it's like a compulsive, like everybody has this compulsive need to dance. I don't know if you guys have heard of these. There's been like contagious laughter episodes that affect like school children and specifically a lot, I think like teenage girls for whatever reason. But it's like compulsive laughter that goes on for hours and hours and hours that they cannot stop.
I remember hearing about like a nunnery where that happened famously.
Yep. I've also heard of that.
Yep.
I'm gonna look up right now. Nun laughter.
ASMR.
Nun laughter episode. Okay, I have it on a list here. This is something different. Reading this from medium.com, 10 bizarre episodes of mass hysteria in the world's history. Meowing nuns is what I heard. I don't know if this is what.
Maybe that's what it was.
Before the 20th century, mass hysteria events and covenants were relatively common. These places maintained favorable circumstances for collective breakouts because they gathered women living isolated from society and submitted to highly stressful environments, including repetitive religious rituals, severe punishments for breaking rules, and near-starvation diets. One of the oldest reported occurred at an unspecified time in the Middle Ages after a nun living in a French convent inexplicably began to meow like a cat. Shortly afterwards, other nuns in the convent started to meow as well. According to the epidemics of the Middle Ages, eventually all nuns in the convent adopted the practice of meowing all together every day at certain time for several hours. The surrounding Christian community found this completely astonishing and contacted the authorities, who installed a group of soldiers with rods by the convent entrance with threats to whip the nuns until they stopped meowing, ended up being effective as a way to cease the daily cat concerts.
Hey guys, we found something that worked.
Yeah.
Army guys with whips. Some reason that just does the job.
I do. Why not let the nuns meow? Who are they bothering?
Let
God?
them meow.
Let them meow. That's gonna be our second T-shirt. Let them meow.
Let him meow.
Also Eric related. Brian will let Eric meow. People just want him to meow.
No, the nuns can meow. Eric, if you meow one time.
I've been trying to meow for friggin' 4 hours.
No.
He hasn't found his voice yet. So
One of these days.
So what is the difference between mass hysteria and culture bound syndrome? Is it like a square rectangle sort of deal where there is some overlap?
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't know that there's a hard line between them. I would guess that culture-bound syndromes are a little bit more persistent in time, as in they recur like through generations or whatever. There's some kind of like cultural awareness of them. They exist in the common knowledge, and I feel like a mass hysteria just kind of like pops up. And that, like, there was presumably in this town, this mass meowing was not a thing that happened repeatedly. It just kind of came and went mysteriously. But I don't think they're necessarily that different.
Here's an interesting one in this same article. Do you guys remember the controversy around Pokemon causing seizures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of also considered one from what I'm looking at right now, because it only really affected like 600. It affected 600 kids in Japan. And then it wasn't really an issue everywhere else.
Is it because they edited it before it was like syndicated?
Let's see.
Because I know whenever that comes up on like a listicle or something, if it's in a video, there'll always be like a warning, like watch out, there's going to be some seizure inducing.
Yeah, I don't think people just want to be responsible. So I'll just read in December 16th of 97, episode 38 of the widely popular Pokemon anime aired in Japan. This episode, where Pikachu's electric attack is depicted with a quick series of flashing light, was watched by millions. The moment of the attack was streamed at 6:51 p.m. By 7:30 p.m., over 600 children were entering the hospital with typical symptoms of epilepsy: seizure, altered levels of consciousness, headaches, breathlessness, nausea, vomiting, blurred vision, and general malaise. The intriguing case was quickly covered by the mass media, replaying the electric attack sequence, causing even more children to fall ill, exasperating the case. Okay, so this did affect a lot of people. It is estimated that over 12,000 children were involved in this situation. Among them, only a relatively small number of the children had genuine photosensitive epilepsy seizures. Okay, so it affected people who didn't even have like epilepsy. Which is interesting. I do not know if it was eventually edited. It's Draz is saying here, poor Porygon not being allowed on the anime, even if it was Pikachu's fault. Pokemon. Gotta catch them all.
One kind of weird, you do have to catch them all. One kind of weird current example is, have you guys heard of Havana syndrome in the news? Have you heard of this?
Yeah. It's like still just happening, right?
Super weird thing where like CIA staff members who are posted in these foreign countries are basically coming down with these pretty wild and intense neurological symptoms, and like some symptoms of like severe PTSD and stuff like that, like depression, anxiety, vertigo, like debilitating stuff. And they're all claiming that these are basically, and it's kind of gotten like everything now, it's gotten spun up into sort of this political football where it's like an alt-right conspiracy or not or whatever. But the basic premise that they're saying is like, hey, we got fucked up. And what they're theorizing is that it's this like energy weapon, like a microwave that's used by the Russians or like in Cuba or whatever to mess with, American intelligence agency people. And it doesn't kill them, but it fucks them up. But it's like they've done all these investigations into it, And I think the current like stance is like, no, there is no weapon. This is
The
just
solution
a thing you're feeling.
Yeah, as I understand it, the solution is always just like, oh, okay, move back to America then, or like move to a different neighborhood. I guess they're not acknowledging that there is such technology that can do that, but also like it's happening, like they're not telling people just to like suck it up. They're like, oh, you are completely debilitated. We got to get you out of there.
Yeah, they're going to like the VA and like veterans hospitals and stuff, and they're like having really bad symptoms, and they're like, there's no evidence. And now who knows? Maybe it's like they're saying that for political. I have truly no idea like what the possible cause of this, but it's just it's like affecting a fair amount of people, probably hundreds, maybe thousands of people, and some families. And it's like complete. And the official line is like, it's maybe in your head.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it's really scary.
Eric, I think we got time for one more. Is there a really, really good one?
There's some. I want to end us on a not terrible note because there's some really sad ones.
This has been a tricky one to walk. I appreciate everyone like understanding we're tackling this in good faith.
Yeah.
Eric is like those Google and Facebook employees that have to like scan every image and video that goes up there, and they're like deeply scarred.
That just can't be good for your brain.
Yeah, I just cried in silence while I was researching this.
Yeah, it's bad for your brain, and also those companies will hire people on like a contractor basis so that they don't have to pay for their therapy and shit.
Fucked up.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's Eric. He had to read all this shit and just give us the cute ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not a lot. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of cute ones, but as a whole, it tends to center around some like transient and acute attack of just like, I don't want to say mania, but like some kind of outburst, or a feeling of just being deeply unwell in some way, or an obsession with a thing like Morgellons. Like you have this thing, there's stuff poking out, or your wiener's going to come in or fall off or do something it's not supposed to do.
Become a turtle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your wiener will become a turtle.
Finally.
Exactly. And there's no real explanation for many or most of these, but they're just sort of an accepted thing in a lot of these cultures. And Jesse doesn't think periods are real. So that's the word on that.
Huh?
What?
No, I just said you can not have one if you just concentrate really hard.
Believe us. These are the faces of three people who know all about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to health class, and they took the boys out of the room when they talked about period so they could teach us about soccer or something. Big whoop.
Well, I guess we're about out of time. Unless anybody has anything else. I'm doing a quick Google here, seeing if anything weird comes up. Yeah, this is a wild one, man.
Yeah, this is definitely a kooky one. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit of a bummer.
Real fun one. Thanks for coming on, Jeff.
Yeah, this is a real.
I'm gonna blame this one on
guys.
Jesse, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did demand that you tell me about illnesses that any of us or our listeners can just pick up just by hearing about them. You really came through big time.
I mean, I think for me, this is interesting just because I think it connects to some larger themes that we explore a little bit, which is like the line between what's real and what's not real, and the kind of power of belief and placebo / the potential existence of things that exist just outside the realm of the standard scientific worldview.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Jesse, what do you got going on the internet where people might be able to pick up their own cultural bound symptoms through the internet?
Yeah, I'm on some deeply disturbing forums. But you can check out my podcast, The Cracked Movie Club, wherever fine podcasts are sold.
Extremely, extremely good.
Thanks.
Hey, Eric, where are you on the internet?
I'm just getting off the internet immediately because now I'm afraid of the internet after this episode.
Always the hallmark of a good Brian and Eric, where we're afraid
Yeah.
of the internet afterwards.
Deeply shaken.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm Brian. I'm here at twitch.tv/Goblin Voice. You can catch me here Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. doing, of course, Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here. And on Sunday nights doing the Talon Mix with my buddy Zach. It's a Smallville recap podcast that, hey, that's a lot of fun, even if you don't watch Smallville. Which is a lot of people. Most of the most vocal people in chat will never watch Smallville, have told me they will never watch Smallville.
That show is, there's no new episodes of that, right?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
When did it end?
Let's see, 2012.
Huh.
I want to say around then.
So a decade ago.
Yeah. It's a good show, man. It's a good ass show.
Right.
It's let's see. We have a pod. We rip this. We throw this up on wherever you can get podcasts. So go find that there. Man, on everything I'm doing right now, the ends of the show just get real loosey goosey and weird. I'm not good at those big tight outros.
We should just kind of let it fade into dead air. I feel like that's good radio. I don't know a lot.
I think that's also the way we should do things from now on. But hey, Andrew WK, we're coming for you, buddy.
You hold on.
We're gonna hold on. We're coming.
We're on the way. Once my Dr. Loosecum certificate gets here, I'll have some real scholastic firepower to aim at your whole situation. So just keep the faith.
We'll see you next week, everybody. Good night.